Hello, welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. Yes, so we are talking about something that has been an agenda on Twitter, if you will. Because this, since after the loss to Sundowns, not Sundowns, why am I saying Sundowns? Since the loss to Chippa United on Saturday, people have been talking, people have been upset, rightfully so. People are supposed to be upset. People are supposed to be angry because the team is not doing well. But now people started saying things like, oh, Zwane was better. Zwane was much better. But while we're talking about was Zwane better, was Zwane not better, then a new thing came up. Bring back Zwane. Bring back Zwane. Bring back Zwane. To a point where ETSK Times even wrote an article about this. Should Zwane come back to Kaizer Chiefs? And just to make this easy and clear, I need to say this. Do I think Zwane is better than Kevin Johnson? By what he did at Chiefs, yes. Do I think it's better than Tsegi? Yes. Do I think it's better than those two? Yes. But do I think he should come back and coach Chiefs? No. Reason being, well, there's two reasons really. The first one is the fans. They decided a long time ago that they did not want to Zwane. And this thing of deciding who you hate and who you love is not really something new at Kaizer Chiefs, if we're being honest. It's not anything new with fans in general. Like, you look at a lot of players or people at Kaizer Chiefs, like there are people who just don't like Uprosi Vuma. No matter what he does, they will find a thing that they will criticize. I saw people saying he must be sold. That's just one of the examples. Usiyabonga Ngezana is playing abroad now. But there are people who hated him so much and got so upset when he succeeded and got a chance to go abroad because they decided to hate him. So even some of the good things that a person might do or that they can do, people will go and say, nope, that person is a lost cause because they just don't like him. So that's the first thing. Fans decided they did not want him anymore. And once you get to that point with fans, especially Kaizer Chiefs fans, it's just a point of no return. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that even for him, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be really, really tricky because the first time around, he went in knowing that he's being backed by management, and they even gave him a 3-year contract to show the confidence that they had in him. All of a sudden, they changed that, they fired him. So now he's not going to be settled in a job. And yes, no one should ever be settled in a job, especially a coaching job, because people then get too complacent, right? You don't want that. But at the same time, you don't want a coach who's coaching like how they do at Chippa United. You know you can get fired at any moment. So I don't think that makes any sense. And thirdly, I think it doesn't make sense to bring Zwane, because if you bring him back now, why does he not just go out there and prove himself to actually be credible as a Kaizer Chiefs coach? Because even I would sound like a hypocrite if I would say that Zwane or any other coach who comes to Kaizer Chiefs should be experienced, should have won something. But at the same time, there is Zwane here who's essentially who does not have experience. So why would I say he should come back while I'm saying with the other coaches they shouldn't come back? So it really does not make any sense. So to say and make this thing very simple, Zwane should not come back to Chiefs, despite the fact that he can do better than the current coaches. But the last thing I want is, I want to come and view and read my comments. The last thing I want is for the coach to be hired just because he can be better than the ones that we have. So definitely I would say that. Okay, let me read my comments. Usizwe is saying, Mina, I just want Kaizer Chiefs to finish at number 11 or 12 so that the management can start taking our team serious. We don't need Zwane back. Let Kevin finish the season like they said. Yeah, vele indabila pektheni. If you bring in a new coach with 7 games to go, the team is too messed up. They don't have a preseason. They don't have anything. And even if you had identified that person correctly and they only just coming in for the 7 remaining games, then what's going to happen is that they're going to end up looking like a bad coach, and then fans will give up on that person before the season even starts. And now you are creating new problems, and we don't want that. So as painful as it is, Kevin Johnson fell at this point. He should just stay so that we lose as well, because then that's going to motivate the management to make the proper decisions. Utapelo is saying, I also want him back. Yeah, I'm sorry. Mina, I will always say this, Uti. It's going to be difficult for Zwane to come back, guys. It's going to be really tricky. Utumsani Stebe is saying, Zwane was better kuma games ake ang 4 la aqala ngawo. The rest, I know. And I have something to say with Tumsani, because Uguti, you know the problem Uguti with Chiefs, with Zwane, the games that he started with, they showed a clear style of play, a clear thing. Uguti, this is what he wants to implement: a high press, a team that plays, a team that, you know, that shows in Uguti we want to win the ball back, we want to control the play, but at the same time we also want to score and win games. And we did create a lot of chances than what we're doing right now, because it's finder. But as the season continued, you started to see some other problems, like Uplomping played it right back and then he got benched. But then Zwane realized I can make him a midfielder, made him a midfielder, then we're solid in midfield, and then we're building. You could see things, the chances were creating, patterns of play, but then he panicked. I've always said this thing. The biggest problem thing, the thing that Zwane did was panic and change his style of play. Or maybe didn't panic, he was told, Uguti, the priority, Arthur, right now should be you getting results. And he started trying to get results, kicking the ball, and then everything was just out of hand. Because after that game in Sundowns, when we lost 4-0, he panicked even more. But it wasn't even him, only him. It was also the management, because they went on, they got him a striker that he never wanted, and then he had to use that striker because they had brought him Nkan. Next comment is Nompilo Zwane. Only Sipo is saying, wow, Chiefs management, they lost now. They really, this chop and change is not saving the team. Yeah, I don't think they'll bring him back. They know the fact that when they brought up Kevin Johnson, they removed Zwane. It's because these people, Chiefs, maybe I'm talking right now, Konombuga or Chiefs, these videos, these things that we say online, they get to them. And you can even see, I have someone who I will not mention, who told me, Uguti, yeah, something about Chiefs. They got in touch with the Chiefs or Chiefs got in touch with them because of something that they had said online. So I know that these things get to them. I mean, at this point, my channel, 24,000 something subscribers. So I guess I'm not big enough for them to be worried. Uguti, what I'm saying, it's either propaganda or bad for their brand. So they haven't said anything to me. But they do hear these things that are being said, and they make some decisions based on what people are saying. So they knew very well Uguti Zwane was hated with a passion by fans, so they were never going to bring him back. Ausnako is saying Zwane can come back as a caretaker manager, but now after all the points you have counted, it is really hard. It is really tricky. It is tricky for him. It's tricky for management, because the question is, how do you sell it? How do you sell it to the fans that we're bringing back Zwane? Because people are going to say, hey, wait, we've seen this movie before. You did the same thing after Stuart Baxter did not perform. You removed him and then you put Zwane as an interim. Then the new season started, and then you basically changed your plans, and then you made him a permanent coach. So people are always going to look at it and think, these ones are trying to finesse us. They are not just making an interim coach, but they want him they want him to be permanent. Same thing with Johnson. I don't think they just wanted Johnson as an interim coach. I honestly think they wanted Johnson to be a permanent coach, but then they failed. And by the way, please like the video. Please do like the video. I see only 12 likes and we have like 200 views. So please, let's like the video, please. Olis is saying Zwane was far better than Mlife and Johnson, way better. Usnako is saying, by the way, hola. Umandla is saying, Mina, I only want Zwane for the rest of the season. The only worry is him doing well if he takes over from Kevin. here's the thing, man. You and I both know this. Anything that Zwane comes in and does with the players that we have, it's going to be better than Johnson. And that is the thing, as you are saying, it's ironic because Chiefs improving at this point is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Because if Chiefs improve under Johnson, everyone's going to say, oh my days, they're improving. That means they are going to keep with Johnson. And we have doubts with Johnson. If Zwane comes in and improves the team, then we're going to panic very, because now people are going to say, oh, Zwane is now going to be made a permanent coach based on what he's doing. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, we don't want Zwane permanent. The anti-Mangete gang, we don't want Mangete permanent. Even if you are not an anti-Mangete person, if you just want Chiefs to be stabilized at this point, you also fear Uguti, he can do well in the next remaining 7 games, but then what if he doesn't do well in a full season? Yabo. So tricking and Pelaland, it's not an easy thing to just say, no, Zwane can do well and we need stability. No, Chiefs is eating in. That's what Chiefs needs. Chiefs will want to make him a coach again if he does well. Exactly. That's the thing. That's the same thing with Johnson. If Johnson does well, they want him to do well. They want him to be a permanent coach, which none of us want Johnson to be permanent coach at this point. And I don't want him to improve. I'm not going to lie. Because we've seen enough, Uguti. There's no clue there. You cannot be telling me, Uguti, you'll see this in tomorrow's video. Kunezinto coach okumele uzisho sibone ukuthi unama analyst, they are showing you the weaknesses of your team. Ungakhulumi njengomuntu nje ongathi uyaqagela ngathi akawabuka ama game Chiefs. It's weird, really. I like this next comment. For me, Peterson is far better than Vuma. Vuma doesn't have voice the players. I disagree, sir. You know what? I go almost to every game. Maybe I've missed 3 or 4 games this season. Bruce is just as vocal as Peterson a grounding, and Peterson, he also makes silly mistakes. Bruce angawenza ama mistake. For example, in this game here, cheaper, or let's just count my mistakes Bruce that he has made so far. How many that have been really costly and clear that it's him? Like if we look at the goals are cheaper, the header by whoever, you can say it's Bruce who made a mistake by not deciding to come out. But at the same time, the defense did not help him. That man cannot be free in the box. So that's not a clear Bruce goal. Like when Peterson failed to hold on to a ball like this, and I like Peterson a lot. When Peterson failed to hold on to a ball that was coming to him, that was caught by Miami, that was a clear error from him. When Peterson failed to clear a ball with arrows, which was the last mistake that he made before he got dropped, that was a clear mistake by Peterson. When Peterson makes a mistake, you know, because it ends up being a goal and it's clear. There's no one else that you can look at and say, we are born to Peterson. So Peterson ngempela wenzilo kunje. Yeah. Let me see. Awuthi ngenze poll. Who played is saying I must make a poll. Let me do it. Let me do a poll. Can I create it here? Nope. So create a poll. I wanna see ukuthi abantu bathini. Wemandla i-calling option ayikho ngizoyizama ngizobona ukuthi can I do it. It's gonna be tricky. Who is better? Peterson. Ngifuna ukubona ngempela. Phela I found these things ukuthi people have different opinions, which I obviously respect. So there is a poll for you. I want people to vote and tell me who is better. The calling option when Amandla, the thing that I was using before, you remember what I was doing those live streams, and my biggest problem was the fact that I will find the other way of doing those call-ins on Thursday when we do the live again. Because right now I can't set it up at this moment. I'm just gonna read comments. So let me read. Yo, asemaningi ama-comments kodwa ngizowafunda relaxana. Umandla is saying, Mara, if Zwane comes back, he needs a mandate to focus on player youngsters. But then the problem is if he focuses on the youngsters and they shine, and then the next coach doesn't care for youngsters, then what do you do in that case? Joseph Joy is saying he must come back, but I do agree, Guti, there must be a clear thing, Guti. What you are coming to do is 1, 2, and 3. Done. You are not coming to be a coach. We're already talking to a new coach. When are your things to just help us transition to the next coach? Joseph Joy is saying he must, in fact, if anyone, which I don't think should be Zwane, any coach that they are talking to right now, he should also be communicating with this is how he plays, or they should know how he plays, and they should be already trying to make the team sort of look like what it would look like under that coach. Yeah, I know it sounds redundant, but it is what it is. Joseph Joy is saying he must come back as an interim coach. A new season head coach must be employed. Think Nabi can be a good coach for Kaizer Chiefs? Yeah, he can. He would be. But then again, there are those complications that we talked about last week. That we've been talking about a few weeks. So Sports is saying our management is not serious. Not even a press conference addressing the media regarding crisis we're in by now. New coach should have long time reported by the media if they have him. Exactly. You know why also the press conference would also help us as the fans to calm down, because we know, or we would know, that they see what's happening with Johnson and they are definitely bringing in a new coach, because this would just be like a controlling the narrative as they like to do so much. It would just be like, yeah, the coach is coming, Johnson is finishing the rest of the games. And then all of us, most of us would say, okay, even if we watch Chiefs play better against Richards Bay, most of us would say, okay, it's fine. It's a bad game, but at least we know that a new coach is coming next season. But right now, we are not even sure if they are talking about it to any coach. With 7 games remaining, even now, we just learned, for those of you who haven't heard, Uguti Liverpool, Klopp announced, I think in Feb, Uguti is leaving. And then now, there are talks that Amorim, the coach who's coaching eSport Lisbon, has reached a verbal agreement with Liverpool. Veli was a front runner for the job, but now he has reached an agreement. This is before Liverpool finishes their season. They already know who's coming to coach next, right? But a team in crisis is not even trying to calm the fans down to say, listen, we have this under control. We're bringing you a new coach next season. No, nothing, nada. Pumelelo is saying, to be honest, Zwane was poor for a Kaizer Chiefs coach. Aren't we just being nice just because he did better in comparison to the last 2 coaches? Not because of his ability to coach the biggest team in SA. Yabona Pumelelo, you have a valid point. Zwane was better than the 2 coaches. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of boxes that were not ticked. Not a lot, but the 2 most important ones. 1, have you coached and succeeded somewhere else? 2, yeah, that's the main and most important thing. Have you coached and succeeded? By success, footy, for you to come and coach Kaizer Chiefs, you must have succeeded in terms of trophies, not just anything. So that was the biggest thing that made people doubt Zwane. And the other one was, even though you have coached in the amateur, not amateur level, but the reserve team. And even in that reserve team, you did not win anything. So that was the biggest objection against Zwane. So for him to then be brought on to be the senior coach, that did not sit well with a lot of people. And when it did not do well, then people were like, you remember what we said? And then that brought up more, because there's always going to be people who are going to say, we're going to support the team no matter what. And then there are going to be those people who are going to say, this is nonsense, I want this man to fail. And then there are those who are in the middle who are saying, let's see what happens. So the moment the coach does well, the people who are on the let's see what happens, the moment the coach does well, they were like, yeah, let's just back him. And the moment the coach does bad, they're like, these guys were right. He's a horrible coach. So then people just got more angry, and more of them shifted to the side of saying Zwane was nonsense to begin with. So Vele didn't tick that box, which is the most important one. The only one that is now ticking is that he's better than the 2 coaches that were before us. The problem is that a lot of people had said that we want anyone else but Zwane. And then they got anyone else who's not Zwane, and what happened? It wasn't good enough. So that's a problem. That's why even now I will not say let's get anyone else who's not Calvin Johnson. That's a nonsensical statement because there are people who are worse than Calvin Johnson. So saying let's get anyone else, I don't think it's going to be a very wise thing to say. Next comment, Manning now. Kaizer saying Lumpilo Zwane was like the coach for Arsenal. He was lost game time, but look Arsenal now. If Chiefs want like Arsenal, fans should be fair. I remember there's this guy called the Troops, one of the Arsenal fans. That man gets mad really fast. He was so angry. He was Arteta out. I think he even had t-shirts that said Arteta out. And the Arsenal were bad in the first season. And then Arsenal ended up winning the FA Cup, I think, in the second season. Then the guy was still like, Arteta out. Arteta out. Every mistake that Arteta would make, he would go Arteta out. He would go Arteta out. And then eventually, when Arteta started doing well, then he was eating humble pie. But no, I was wrong. But did you not understand where I was coming from? It made sense because Arteta was not doing well, this and that, and this and that, and this and that. But then at the time, it just sounded like excuses and excuses. But at the end of the day, indaba yakhe Arteta out ended up fizzling out. And it was the same thing with Kai Havertz at Arsenal. Arsenal fans are a good example when we talk about Kaizer Chiefs, because we are like them. We win one game, we are Real Madrid. We lose one game, we are the worst team in the world. So you are right, Ekteni. Maybe if they'd given him time, given him players, the second season even, I think it was going to be much better than the first. But the problem, the thing that was always hanging on top of Zwane is his lack of trophies. Ubongile saying, why Chiefs going back to Zwane now? It looks like we don't know what we want. I don't think they are going back to him. It's just the fans who are pressuring this, and that is why it has even made it to mainstream media, because us fans keep on bringing this up. So not necessarily them, so let's not blame them. This is a conversation among us fans, especially saying I don't want him to come back. They disrespected him. They look for a coach right in front of him, so they must suffer with Johnson. And Vele, even if Zwane was going to do well, I think it doesn't reflect well on him. Even him staying at Chiefs, I don't think it reflects well on him. He should leave, coach somewhere. Proof, because people are saying, that's another thing they're bringing up. If Zwane was such a good coach, why has not any other team come in for him? That's a question that remains unanswered. Umandla is saying, we lack a decisive management, must come back and be clear and say he will not be permanent in any way. Angitona mandla inkinga yabo ukuthi they do not know nabo ukuthi bafunani. So as it stands with Johnson, they were like, let's see how he does, and if he does well, then we make him permanent, and he's not done well. So now they don't know. Who played is saying mina ngifuna coach CJ aqedele and sengathi singayodlala ama playoffs. That would be beautiful. I would love that, and I would actually want to win those playoffs because I don't want Chiefs to end up buying his status. I would really laugh like if the Chiefs ended up playing on my playoffs. Ooh, that would be funny. Sibongobuko is saying for me, Khosi must be the sporting director of Chiefs. Then Mutaung Jr. can go sit on the board and he would be able to bring players from other clubs in the league. And Alung is struct. Yabona lapho, I agree ukuthi being somewhere in the sporting something of Chiefs, because understands the culture. He's been around Chiefs long enough. Problem is, abantu baziguthi uyafathuza, abantu baziguthi he failed as a coach. That thing will always hang over him. And that is why I'm saying, whatever that Zwane does, if it's still around Chiefs, fans are still going to be outraged. A lot of them are still pissed at him. So it's tricky for him to be in anything at Chiefs, because if Chiefs doesn't succeed, then everything will be like, Angitu Zwane is still there. Angitu Zwane is sabotaging coaches, even though there's never really been proof ukuthi Zwane sabotage coaches, because Baxter was saying the one they refer to ukuthi was sabotaged by Zwane when he was overseas, failing to getting teams almost relegated in India. Who was sabotaging him then? When he came back to South Africa, well, with Chiefs, they said it was Zwane. When he went abroad and did not do well, who was sabotaging him then? You understand? So it was just not good now for Chiefs Baxter the second time around, but he had a reason, he had an excuse to say Zwane, and people believe that because they actually wanted to believe this. This is what I've learned on Twitter. That's why sometimes I just type what I think and I don't respond, because people will fight you over. Abanye, they are not trying to have a conversation with you. They are just trying to fight you because they already have a belief, but they are pretending as if they want to engage. There are people who disagree with me, and I'm okay with that. But we can engage here because we're not fighting. But if you go on Twitter, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, my platform post from the, but my main platform is YouTube, because most people here, we can talk. It's my opinion, but hey, we're not there. Even other comments, even if I don't respond to them, I read them. But let's go back. Usipo is saying there's nothing that Calvin Johnson can offer us. He has lost the dressing room. Players are just honoring games. Bring Zwane to finish the season. Hey, Calvin Johnson has lost the dressing room. You can just see. Usnako is saying, I wonder which role Zwane take when Calvin gets back to being head of development, since Chiefs is planning to bring a new coach, and that coach might not want Zwane as an assistant coach. That would be damn value to make Zwane an assistant coach for anyone at this point. Like this thing of just shifting Zwane like assistant coach, head of something. Here, it's family business, and since you are a child of this house, we are going to try and find something for you, because like what I do with my nieces, I'm training them for family business. They should know how to do YouTube and all of these things. It's family business. That's what they are doing. They find something for him. Okay, Zwane, maybe you'll be head of scouting. Something, as long as he's there. But the problem is, he's not really developing in his career. He should go out of his comfort zone. But then again, who am I? This man has a kid who just graduated in university. So the man is good at Chiefs. There is also that we forget. People are also thinking about. Lama comments ka played no mandla ngwafundile. Umzuyanda is saying they must swallow their pride and admit that they made a mistake with the Nabi deal, but I agree that Zwane should fill the caretaker role for the rest of the season, because at this rate we are not going to make top 10, let alone top 8. No, I hear your comments and they are valid about Zwane being a caretaker coach. I just always go back to what Mandla said earlier, Uguti. Then what if he does well? These ones would be tempted to make him a permanent coach. Spongobuku is saying Arthur can identify the next coach we bring at Kaizer Chiefs, as he's a football person and understands it, and must work with the new coach next season to recruit the type of players they want and the style of play they want to enforce, bringing the right people, of course, to become the technical team. And that is true. You know what? That I know I'm sounding negative about him, but in time, the thing is, I do not want Zwane to be anywhere near the technical area. Ne? I do not want him to be technical, director, something. Anything that is senior team that's going to or might affect the senior team coach, I don't want him there. Because if Chiefs goes out and they don't get the right coach, what happens? Who's the first person who's going to be blamed? It's Zwane. And he has a target on his back. Whatever that he does, if he sneezed, people are going to say, he sneezed, then the coach got the flu. It's him. He's sabotaging him. But in a perfect world, yes, I would love him to be there. He knows Chiefs. He knows the boys that are in the team, even the ones that are no longer young boys anymore. He should have a role. But what if things don't go right? Then there's a problem. And also, there is no winning for Zwane at Chiefs. There is no winning. if he comes in, the team does well, and there's this new coach they've appointed, people are going to say it's the new coach. He comes in, the team does not do well, it's him. He's sabotaging the coach. So whatever that it does at this moment, it's always going to be Zwane is the one who's doing this. Zwane is the one who's sabotaging the coach. So I think that there's just no winning, and that's the sad thing that we see right now with him. Let me read the next comment. Okay, next comment is why ngifuna ucula ingoma ethi Sweet Caroline pa pa pa. Next comment is Uplady saying Vuma Bagiti for now vele both our goalkeepers are ordinary, shame. Manda saying based on current form Vuma is better, but in terms of overall quality Peterson is better. Sibongo Buko is saying style of play they want to enforce. Sengifundilele. Snako is saying the video before Pilo start looking at us cruel people. Like the video. Our player is saying Zwane akabuye next season at least abamiye kusithi yaqedele nathi sike siqede isizini ku number 15. Sibone nje yona player ukuthi kunjani uqedela lapha at the tail end. Ngifuna ukubuka banyana. Let me read these last few comments. Sengizokwenza into ama members ke manje. Ngizoprioritize ama members nceseni manje ngiyona ama member. Ngizovele ngiwafunde nje lama comment asele. The last comment engizoyifunde kaza abantuli so that I don't read more comments than I should. Uspecially saying Zwane's season reminds me of the season that Erik ten Hag is having at Man United. The injuries and the lack of depth, and now it's difficult for us to see what the coach is trying to do. You know, that's a funny thing. Now, I look at United fans complaining about Erik ten Hag, and I sometimes has a loud mouth because and his players, they are loud mouths. They score against Liverpool and they do this. Like, you can't be doing that as if you've been winning against Liverpool. This man just humbled you 7-0, 5-0, 4-0. It's not old, and you are doing this playing against them. That's why their heads are not in the game, because they're always trying to prove people wrong, and that's biting them, because now they're going to play against the next team that is not going to miss teams like Liverpool and win. Like, I think that's the problem. Now abadlali they have heads up there. Umandla saying only two coaches I want to hear about next season, Pito and Nabi. Mandla mnganami ngiyakuthola ngisho yedwa club. Mr. Mino is saying ngane uZwane umesaya wethu we top 8. Ubongile saying so he's saying who will? I have no idea. They will just finish the season as they are. Umandla is saying Zwane failed because of no striker, no defenders, and no experienced assistant coach, and a bad fitness and analyst. Recipe for failure straight. Even Peter will fail with what Zwane had. That's another thing that people don't want to believe. Zwane did not have a technical team at all. And that's probably a problem that Chiefs has. They give you the technical team. It doesn't matter what it's like, as long as it's what is fitting to them. And sometimes what is fitting to them is not necessarily what is actually good for the club, but they do that, and that tends to not end well. Muhammad Edward is saying, hi, sorry, but if Zwane return, will just add salt to the wound. That is true. Chiefs must just go to Germany, ask Borussia Dortmund to help. I know Zwane is bad for Chiefs. Ubangi Lizwe Soccer is saying, let them bring back Dr. Khumalo and Ace Khosi till we get a better coach. Ngune video that I recorded today that I'm talking about to Ace Khosi, so watch out for that video. It's coming out tomorrow. Man, like saying also we have a scoring problem. Mara, they don't hire a striker coach. It's like you're cooking and you need pots, but when you force yourself to cook on the floor. Yay! Yabone striker coach sengzenga yek. Yabone striker coach. I've even stopped talking about a striker coach because I see the team does not care. And I found out Guti Chiefs as an analyst. I was shocked when I saw his picture. I'm like, oh, he's an actual person. I was surprised. Oplady saying, specifically don't mention Man United because Mpilo is still mad at Bruno and Kobe for scoring against his team. I'm not mad at them. I'm more mad at my players for allowing the team to score against us. Kaizer is saying we need a coach and a new staff and everything. We basically need a coach who's going to come with his staff and everything. Yabo? We need someone who's bringing everything. Ulebo Hangmulo is saying apparently Chiefs are already talking with a good coach and they will be having another meeting on the 26th of April. Hey, let me think, it's 19 days. Is it 19? It's not make sure. 17 days. I think so. Say we take another meeting. Sonjika is saying, oh no. Umelelo is saying, I remember that Arteta studied at the feet of the best coach in the world. Zwane was never mentored, let alone by one of the best. The ones that mentored Zwane are the ones that got sacked by Chiefs. Ushubi saying Motaung's messed up from not honoring their promise of buying players Baxter wanted after winning the league. Mina vele ngisafuna ukubuyela to the real reason why Baxter left Chiefs back then. I still want to find out the real reason. Other 14 saying Zwane will come back with games to keep us on the top 8. People will start saying Zwane must stay as a permanent coach. I'm tired at this management at Chiefs. You are saying exactly what Mandla was saying, Guti. It's better he doesn't come back because he comes back, they change their mind. Mandla is saying Chiefs must learn from Santos in Brazil. Every big name gets relegated if they don't adapt and respect the game. Problem with South African football is you can buy status. That's another problem that we have. Bongele is saying who will coach a team who don't know what they want. That is true. Umpumelelo is saying Chiefs wouldn't come back from playoffs. Playoffs require something more than tactics. They require character and willingness to give it all. And Vele has a conceal because teams who are playing in playoffs, they're desperate. Especially the number 2. But funny enough, teams that are second in the MDC, not MDC, Mvela, not Mvela, Mtsepe Foundation, they are trying, but it's rare that they fail. It was rare this past season. The 2 Bartlett ended up gaining promotion. It was Bartlett, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think Pietermaritzburg, yeah, something like that. Yeah, but it seems like the teams in PSL playing there are desperate to cling on. It would be funny though if Chiefs got to that point. The last comment from yeah, I was supposed to end it at Ubongil. No guys, I'm stopping here. I have to watch Banyana. Let's watch Banyana, and I want the video to only be 37 minutes and not be too long. But thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this, like the video, share it. I will see you on another live on Thursday, but tomorrow check out the other video where I'm talking about eSport being linked with Kaizer Chiefs. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumol. And 74% think Uprusib Vumais.